1490 and 334-875-1492 are the numbers to call if you have comments or questions. And um, the YouTube channel is in the process of loading, and I've been having some issues this morning and yesterday there was an issue with YouTube, which usually does not happen. They have been pretty good. There must be something, maybe something going on that I am not aware of. And again, sometimes usage plays a role in terms of the way the live stream goes. But I haven't had that problem until yesterday. Yesterday, the video didn't, the camera didn't show. And so, I usually have the logo. One of these days, I may I'll get over my shyness and put the camera on myself. We'll see. I'm I'm not a big I'm not a big in front of camera person. You know what I mean? But that, as they say, is the nature of the beast. And so now let's see what is happening here. Okay, it looks like we've got on YouTube. And so, yeah, okay, we're there. Now, all we have to do, I don't see, okay, now, there you go. Yeah, there you go. All right. Just making sure we have audio. And it can be complicated sometimes. I tell you, things are really, really changing on the digital front very quickly. Artificial intelligence is certainly being promoted, if nothing else. Artificial intelligence is being sold to us and being promoted. And when that happens, eventually they may get their way before it's all said and done. So you just have to kind of stay on top of things and hope that some of these companies remain user friendly. And again, don't get duped or scammed into any of the various scams, that they're out there. Those they are out there. So President Trump had his State of the Union address last night. I think what I find unfortunate is the current state of partisanship that we're in is just, I think it's unhealthy. It's something really unhealthy about that picture. There was a time when the various parties could agree to disagree and not be so, take it so personal, when it comes to what they have been trying to do, and, there's nothing wrong with acknowledging if a person is right when they're right, and then saying, well, you may have gotten this done and gotten that done, but we can do it better. But it's not like that. That is not the tone that I hear and see, and the kind of disrespect for protocol, is kind of obvious, and it makes me wonder. And other students of politics and history, many of us are wondering about where we're headed and how some of these people get in charge. And that may be why you got a lot of folks that are sensitive about being accused of cheating. Well, when you set it up like that, you're opening the door, for that. So we'll see. That's all I can say. We'll see how things go. And these narratives are every narrative. There was a time when we reported the news, but now instead of reporting it, we tell you how we want you to look at it, how to view the news, how to view the facts, not give you the facts. This is how you should interpret and view. And so that really is called editorializing. An editorial, like you see editorials in the newspaper, a person's opinion on a particular subject. Well, that's an opinion. And same thing with me. I'm not uh, exempt from that. When I give my opinion, it's my opinion. Doesn't mean it's right. I could be as wrong as two left shoes, huh? That could be, or I could be right, or I may not be either. But the point is, it's an opinion. And many times, many of us, and some of us in my business, in the news business, and the entertainment business, we take ourselves far too serious, and we take this thing far too serious. And it's like it's my way or the highway. I'm right and nobody else. There's no other opinion. In fact, I don't even want to hear another opinion. I don't want anybody else to hear what you think, because you may come up with something that they agree with. So I'm going to shut you down. That's freedom of speech, right? Yeah, that's why a revolution was fought in this country 250 years ago to create uh, a government and to create a nation with the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and the various rights that we have. And of course, freedom of speech and freedom of religion. Those are two very powerful concepts and principles. And you can see, oddly enough, even now in 2026, in the 21st century, the first country that comes to mind is Iran. And from what the news reports have shown, the tens of thousands of people that were murdered because they wanted to express their dissatisfaction with their government. But that's a religious government that's in charge. And I don't know that it was much different in Europe when Catholicism dominated Europe centuries ago, and before the Protestant Revolution, before Martin Luther, came along. But again, I don't want to get too technical. If you're not a student of history, that may even be foreign to you. And but at the end of the day, we have present examples of governments and countries that want to exert strict control over their citizens' lives and what they think and what they say and what they eat and what they do. And so that by itself is dangerous because it doesn't mean, again, that what they're saying is best for us, what to eat and what to drink and what to do, And so then if you look further, if you really look behind the curtain and see that some of the very same people and organizations that are promoting all these different methods and techniques and so on and so forth, they're hypocrites. They don't follow it themselves. And that's what they're trying to avoid anybody being able to know many times. But anyway, that's my opinion. Let's take this break, and I'll be back with more right after this.
Although our lobbies are open, personal and business customers have discovered how convenient and easy it has become to manage financial resources without having to come inside the bank. And all of our online services, including mobile banking app, are free. Visit firstcahaba.com to get all of the information, or feel free to call any of our locations in Selma, Troy, or Gulf Shores for any questions or information. Banking the way it should be at First Cahaba Bank means we are constantly focused on the very latest technology for customer convenience and overall satisfaction. We would love for you to join our growing community bank family. First Cahaba Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
1490 WHBB. Good morning on this Wednesday morning. Let's go back to the community bulletin board and church calendar to kind of bring us up to date on some things that are happening. I didn't finish coming up to the 8 o'clock hour, but again this morning from 8 until 8:30 at Vaughan Regional Medical Center in the cafeteria. Right now, they're having a free heart healthy breakfast. And this is for former and current cath lab patients. If you reside in the Selma area and recently received a heart catheterization at Vaughan Regional Medical Center's cath lab, they want to celebrate you this morning. And that's from 8 until 9:30 in the cafeteria. You'll enjoy a hearty and healthy breakfast. You have a chance to meet Dr. Stephen Allen and other cath lab team members and get recipes for heart healthy meals. You can also add a heart to the hospital's wall of hearts. Breakfast with current and former heart patients is their awesome way to close out American Heart Month, and thank you for entrusting them with your care. And I don't have to tell you, we all know that rural health care is an issue that is being pursued and discussed across not just the state of Alabama, but it is being discussed throughout the nation because there are a lot of issues, tied to, of course, healthcare. And unfortunately, anytime you're getting into a situation where it involves billions of dollars, like between the pharmaceutical companies and the insurance companies, that they have a lot of resources and they all have an agenda, and they're going to use all of their resources to promote their agenda. And many times it's at the loss of services to the average person. But it is what it is, and so we just have to, again, try and stay on top of it. So that's going on now at Vaughan. We'll come back and talk maybe a little later about what's happening with Jackson Hospital. I'm glad to see that they looks like they're going to get on their feet. Governor Ivey has committed $40 million to Vaughan, but the $40 million pot that she approved is only after they come out of bankruptcy. Now, if you've never been in business, or if you're not familiar with business practices and principles, you may not understand that bankruptcy is not necessarily a bad thing. It's a tool. Bankruptcy is a tool, a legal tool that many businesses use. And thank God for the law evolved to the point of to give them that kind of protection to kind of regroup. Things happen. The marketplace changes, the market corrects itself, and you may not have been prepared for it. Any number of things could happen. And so she has said, well, she felt like the last administration mismanaged Jackson, but she has got full confidence in this new administration. And when they come out of bankruptcy, then they'll have $40 million waiting for them. So the original amount that they needed to kind of regroup is $293 million. And now they've got to take what they've gotten from the county, the city, and the state. And now they have to go to bankruptcy court, and the judge has to approve their um, their plan. So it can be complicated. Well, it is complicated because you have lawyers that specialize in what? Bankruptcy. It's not a simple thing, you know. And so again, you know, these narratives, I hear a lot of narratives, yeah, and in the news business that are guilty of downplaying what this is all about and how the system actually works. Ignorance is bliss, is what they say. Ignorance in terms of not knowing. And when you don't know, you can make a lot of uninformed decisions. And that's what happens. So let's see what else is going on. Tomorrow at the VFW, we've got a community resource fair. If you're a veteran, and I've known several veterans over the years, and I know a lot of veterans here, and I also know veterans who, you know, one of the complaints they have was that by the time they get their benefits, they're on their deathbed. You know, take 40 years to go, 40 years to confirm that whatever they had or have is as a result of some tour of duty. And so by the time they get to be 70, 80 years old, then they finally say, oh, you know what? You're right. We'll go ahead and give you your almost dead. You know, the things that make me go, So, but tomorrow at the VFW on the Kingsman Road, they will have a clinic, and they'll have veterans raters, RATRS, who can help answer your questions and help. You know, a lot of times what is happening is it's just a matter of the proper documentation and the proper paperwork that can slow things down tremendously, especially in today's environment of red tape. You know, red tape does more harm than anything else sometimes. And so these guys can help you navigate the system. That's tomorrow starting at 9 o'clock at the VFW. Let's take this break, and then when I come back, we'll do some more announcements of some things coming up with the Community Bulletin Board and church calendar. Before I go, congratulations to Southside. I don't have the score, but I do know I was able to confirm that they won their championship for the South region over Bayside. And so that means Southside has advanced to the state tournament, for the state championship. So yeah, go Panthers. We are looking forward, I'm looking forward to seeing you win it all. 8:24 on this hump day, Wednesday morning, and I'll be back after this. Let me see here. Where are you?
Good morning. I'm Jed Davis. Here's what's happening in the news on this Wednesday. The Alabama House passed a bill renaming the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. If passed, the bill would require state and local governments and their employees to use Gulf of America in new maps and documents. Alabama schools would also no longer teach about the Gulf of Mexico. The bill's sponsor says this aligns with President Trump's executive order a year ago. It now goes on to the Alabama Senate. Another $40 million heading to Jackson Hospital to help keep the Montgomery Hospital open. Governor Kay Ivey authorized the use of state bonds, so the state will give Jackson Hospital $40 million in capital funding once it comes out of bankruptcy. The governor says if Jackson closed, it would be devastating for the entire region. Alabama health officials are warning of a longer flu season. Traditionally, health officials say you need your flu shots in September, October. This year, the flu season could be getting passed around until April. They say it's not too late to still get that flu vaccine. That's your news on this Wednesday.
Your 1490 WHBB Wednesday weather forecast. Getting warmer, partly sunny today, but very breezy. Our high this afternoon near 72 with a southwest wind up to 25 miles an hour at times. Clouds will dominate tonight. We'll drop back to 55 for the overnight low, and in the wee hours of the morning, about a 20% chance of a shower. That quickly goes up to a much better chance of Parker at Reliable Chevrolet and GMC, celebrating 80 years of being in business. Not only the best in quality Chevrolet and GMC products, an outstanding selection of pre-owned automobiles right now on the lot, Barry.
And George, don't forget about our service department, one of the top service departments around. And we're coming out of the winter months and we talked about, winterizing your car, but now is more important because the warmer weather means you're going to be using that air conditioning. So you may need to get it charged. Hey, also you're getting ready to head out for vacation time. So you're going to need some new tires, new brake pads. Whatever you're driving, whatever you need, we can take care of all your service needs right here at Reliable Chevrolet GMC.
Don't forget now, the only service work that you can't perform here at Reliable are non-GM and Chevrolet brand automobiles that include warranties and recalls.
That is correct. We can do all your regular maintenance right here, so we invite you to come by. Give us a call at 872-2337 to speak to Eric or Dylan or Lee, and they'll set you up and get you in and get you all taken care of. And George, tell them what happens when they get to that fifth oil change.
Well, for every fifth oil change at the Reliable Service Department, it is absolutely free. And it's not just one vehicle per family. You can bring each vehicle that you have for service at Reliable, and for every fifth oil change, it doesn't cost you one thing.
Now, one thing, I love that word free. So come by and see us right here at 14th Lawrence Street in downtown Selma, right across from the post office. Phone number again, 872-2337, or check us out on our website at reliablegmc.com.
How's your circulation? Do you suffer from fatigue, leg cramps, weakness, or pain in your legs when walking? Do you often have to stop and rest before you can continue? If so, you could be suffering from PAD, peripheral artery disease, blockages in your circulatory system. It may be time for you or your doctor to get in touch with Alabama Vascular Specialists. AVS is growing and serving our area with the most advanced vascular surgery and treatment available today. Dr. Ralph Red, Dr. Irwin White-Giddens, and Dr. Richard Tan are changing lives for the better when it comes to the vascular health of their patients. Other factors include high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, smoking, and high cholesterol. All are contributors to poor circulation and vascular problems, not to mention family history. AVS can help put you on the road to recovery. Offices in Montgomery and Selma. Call 334-801-9952 and online at alabamavascularspecialist.com.
1490 WHBB. Good morning on this Wednesday morning. St. Paul's Episcopal Church having Lent today, a Lenten lunch at 12 o'clock, 210 Lauderdale Street. And Pastor Lee Tate of the West Central Baptist Association is going to be the guest speaker. Also today, this morning at 10 a.m. at the Selma Dallas County Public Library, chocolate chip treats class. Deborah Mosley will be sharing her recipe, which can be made into various forms. Those ideas will be shared in the class, and there'll be goodies to take home. That's today at this morning at 10 o'clock. And then at 12 noon, lunch at the library. Speaker Don Skivey, hiking the Appalachian Trail. And that, of course, is at noon. And at the Selma Dallas County Public Library. Now, tomorrow, a couple of things. Christian Outreach Alliance will be having their food pantry, free groceries for Dallas County residents. You must bring a photo ID. A photo ID, required with every visit, and recent utility bill, electric, gas, water, or garbage in your name with a Dallas County address for the first visit of 2026. And they're located on the corner of Dale Chestnut Boulevard, Junior Boulevard, and Mabry Street. You see, everybody requires some form of identification. There's nothing unreasonable about it. In fact, it's probably a smart thing to do anyway. Why would I not want to be able to prove who I am unless I've got something to hide? And that's why it's illegal, actually, to misrepresent the law enforcement when they ask you who you are, to tell them that you're somebody else. Then they say, well, prove it. It almost, you're going to make me laugh now because I think about Garden of Eden Bible ministry. And on Sundays, the last couple of Sundays during their Bible, the Sunday school lesson, um, Pastor Watson says, the cow jumped over the moon. And so, we're supposed to believe it just because it said, no, you got to prove it, right? So, anyway, that's so you do have to have, it's not an unreasonable request. And I keep doing this overlapping because I don't know of anything except now with this issue in some states that say anybody can vote. You don't have to prove who you are. We know we've got 10 million illegal immigrants in the country that are probably going to either they're going to vote the way we want them to, or they'll be easily manipulated and exploited. So that comes for me. I'm sorry. It comes down to one thing: somebody's planning on cheating. That's my opinion. Don't mean I'm right. I could be as wrong as two left shoes, but the good news is we have a right to say what we think. And then on the other side, people have the right to agree or disagree. Now, whether or not the court of public opinion goes along with what we think, that's a whole nother story, right? Also, tomorrow, City Block Wellness on the corner of Dallas and Broad Street, having a grand opening mobile market. A part of this whole healthy eating trend and trying to address food deserts. And that's going to be tomorrow from 12 until 2, 300 Broad Street, again on the corner of Dallas Avenue and Broad. This Saturday, the Selma Links will be having heart and kidney lunch and learn at the Vaughn Regional Medical Towers classroom. Dr. Patrice Hardy is who you need to contact at selmalinks@gmail.com. Viewpoint, you're on the air. Okay, that caller is gone. 334-875-1490 and 1492. If you have something that you want to say. Now this, did I say, this Saturday in Valley Grande, they will be having I don't know if it's the last or not, but it's the last that they're advertising for registration for softball and baseball. And again, this is for Valley Grande, and it will be at City Hall. And for more information, you can call 334-872-0104. Viewpoint, you're on the air.
Yes, good morning, ladies. It's still saying that you can get 3 shots, but I just wanted to let people know I had the experience of getting one far later than I've ever gotten it before. And for that reason, I would advise anyone to get them past January. Am I talking to someone?
No. What are you saying? You had a bad experience with a flu vaccination after January?
Right. I don't know. I was just suggesting to people, if you never got it before January, please try to do it for the next year. I just keep hearing him announcing that it's not too late to get them, and that's fine. But I just wanted to share my personal experience of having waited until in January to get mine, and so I don't know what that implies, but I know I'm not satisfied with the outcome. I haven't gotten it late.
Well, it's always a good idea if you have a private physician, to consult your doctor or nurse, to get their opinion about it, because they know your body. They should know your body medically, with the training, the medical education they have.
Yeah, but had was a bad, depressing year. I guess ever since Donald Trump returned to the White House, it's been depressing for a lot of us.
Well, what I suggest is at the end of the day, all of the things that I've been watching over the last several years points to one important thing, having a good, strong, healthy immune system. If you do the right thing in terms of your diet and exercise and so many other things that come, if your immune system is where it should be, then you're going to stand a much greater chance fighting off disease, is what I think. Oh, you didn't hear what I said? I said you got to have a good, strong immune system at the end of the day. That's the goal, you know?
I'm sure I've been doing that. It's just that, a lot of times, listen, life is a journey, man. You're always learning something different. And things that didn't bother me in the past bother me now as far as the body. And the body changes. I see toes turning quicker. That's why I asked you about the chiropractor the other day. Because our body changes over the years. And just as our mind should change too, and we should grow. Man, let me just go on a politics bit for a minute. I've been looking at the state of the news last night. I mean, I didn't look at it until early this morning. Sometimes when I go to bed early, I tend to wake up and try to study, as I've always done, in order to prepare my day. Years ago, when you work on parochial school, you get up and do your prayers. But you're doing your prayers, particularly for the environment, so you always have prayer early in the morning, devotional, or something in order to start your day. But a couple of things that I want to hit on are, I didn't hear him talk about the president. I didn't hear him talk about any truth, in my opinion. We need to model after the people over in England, whereby people are able to voice their opposition. That state of union address to me, just like you said, you were entitled to your opinion, so are many of us. So I would like to say that he didn't hit on anything. He was seriously.
Thank you.
He didn't hit on anything that really had any truth. And he never offers any facts. He talks rhetoric. He talks abroad. We talk about seriously. I think our country is in for a serious, the bad boy and the proud boy and the KK, whatever they are, or whatever they call themselves. We watched them throughout our lives. We dealt with people throughout our lives. They're talking about getting black women and how black women had to be put out of the houses and welfare time. Well, my mother, since 18 years old, was a school teacher who went back to Montgomery on the weekends in order to keep getting an education, in order to advance this community where she worked, because she was pulled, like a lot of other people, given those emergency times when they had to educate people in order to pull them after they graduated from high school out of those factory jobs, because I think her first job had been in the cigar factory. We got to look at the true history and stop letting people label us as to what kind of lives our parents have lived. Our parents, when I said about earlier, our fathers weren't put out of the house for welfare. Our parents worked. Our fathers worked because of what they could find, and they did have other thoughts and other things that the nature that they have lived. But we need to stop that, and we still don't want people to tell the truth. The truth is the only thing that's going to set you free. And I want to say condolences to my dear friend and wife, Joanne Brand. We were some of the first ones to dedicate our lives with the Bush Rights Museum. It was down on North Avenue, and I remember the first footprints that were made and played, the pictures that we talked about, it, a lot of things. And at that time, there was a Miles girl, I think her name is Doris Miles, and you'll correct me sister, I don't know what happened to her, but I know people of good character. And that woman certainly was dedicated to the cause of lifting this community. But there's been a lot of people who have left or who have passed on that were dedicated to lifting this community. Now it is time for us to mold our youth, to really get them inspired in order to continue to fight for what's right. I ran into a lady yesterday, and that particular lady could reminisce with me about the old times and how we marked teachers that we knew at Tipton. And one of the particular teachers that came up to me, that I didn't even talk to her about, was Dr. Lisa's brother-in-law, Mr. James Ratliff.
Mr. Ratcliffe, he was my history teacher at Tipton. He taught me history. I'll never forget. I'll never forget Mr. Ratcliffe. We gave him a hard time though. Well, I'm just saying, you know, we had our flaws too. That my class at Tipton, and so we probably we got away with a lot until we got, depending on the teacher, the teachers that had the paddles. I remember, I think it was Dr. Lett used to have a paddle. He drilled holes in his paddle, so for suction. And I remember Miss McCracken. She taught me English, and Miss Slater. Miss Slater had a fan belt that she would use, and if we would move our hand, if we moved our hand, she'd grab us by the ear and twist it. Now you probably couldn't do that today legally, but that's because that's what we needed. We were unruly.
I didn't think I had anything in common, but you proved it again. You were people that admire people who inspired me. So anyway, I ran into listen, I'm not going to talk about all the people I have run into in recent days, but I'm glad to get out and see some of you so we can remove some of our old memories. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you for calling. And so, yeah, discipline. And that's what one of the problems I'm thinking, and a lot of people seem to think, is that because of the legal environment, because they got rid of several. Not only did they get rid of prayer in the schools in terms of the public schools, but corporal punishment was outlawed. The teachers can't discipline the students, so the students in many cases are getting away with everything. I've heard some horrific here recently. I heard a horrific story about a student at the alternative school, and the language that student was using, threatening language towards the instructors and students. And so, you know, that should under no circumstances be allowed. And I know that when I was in junior high school, you know, and especially at Tipton, we couldn't get away with it without some consequences. And these young people today don't understand, many of them don't understand consequences unless they're getting it at home. Speaking of Joanne Bland, as I understand it, as per her request, there's not going to be a funeral, but her body will be in state, will be lying, for viewing rather. The viewing will be this Friday from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. at Aubrey Larkins Lewis Brothers Funeral Home, 1140 Menor Avenue. And on next Wednesday, March the 4th, there will be a celebration of her life at the Convention Center, 211 Washington Street from 2 until 4, and then they'll be crossing the bridge from 4 until 5. And you know, I've been surprised. I'm surprised, and I'm not surprised that there's a lot of people that don't know Joanne's history, because really, Joanne didn't really brag about herself, and she didn't really share a lot of that personal information. You didn't see her out there tooting her horn unless she was doing a tour. Now, on the tours, it was necessary for her to talk about, you know, her role in 1965 and in the 60s. And you know, there's been a lot of death in that family here the last several months. Her brother was Al Blackman. Her sister was Linda Lowry. You know, and so, you know, and they were all involved in the 60s. And so at this celebration of life, it might give a real good opportunity to find out something about Joanne Bland and what she did. And she was a co-founder, is credited with being a co-founder of the National Voting Rights Museum and Institute, which the original museum was on Water Avenue, a few doors down from now was the Foot Soldiers Park's administrative offices and Selma Times Journal building, right? So that's one thing that, another thing to kind of mark down on your calendar. Also, we're in that season, from now until April, we got a lot of stuff between um, Bloody Sunday and Jubilee and the Battle of Selma and the Tour of Homes. Again, I admire what Montgomery has done in terms of being able to marry Civil War and civil rights history, and as a result of that, they got all kinds of money coming in this city. Viewpoint, you're on the air. I'll speak. You got to speak into your phone. I can't hear you. Hello, I can just barely hear you. Repeat what you said, please.
I wanted to quickly share another thing as it relates to Jesse Jackson. Let me just return. Can I take it? Are you listening?
Yeah, but it sounds like you must be on YouTube and there's like a delay. You may want to mute that because I'm hearing myself, when it's creating an echo.
Let me see if I can turn it down. What about this?
Now that sounds better.
Okay, now. Okay.
Go ahead and make your comment because I got to get ready to take a break.
It has to do with Jesse Jackson. See, I remember Jesse Jackson coming over into Milwaukee during the years that I lived there. I don't know whether I've gone to any of the cities that's in the community that were, but Patrick Cudahy. Okay, people who might know Patrick Cudahy was a ham like Smithfield. And I think, as a matter of fact, I think it was one of their companies. But Jesse Jackson was paying it at the request of the white foreman who needed his street, who answered his street. My reason for saying that is Jesse has been such a wonderful man to our nation. I remember the slogan, "Run, Jesse, run." But wait a minute, I'm going to leave y'all alone because we're going to still have plenty of time to talk about Jesse. I know I'm not hearing anything through your program that seems to recognize the person you really are.
Well, you must not have been listening because I, from the time that it was first announced, I talked about Jesse and I also mentioned and observed. In fact, when Rose was here, did you hear the program with Attorney Farah Rose Torre?
Okay, well, I'm guilty. I'm guilty of not paying attention. I'll tell you another time.
All right, thank you for calling. 334-875-1490 and 1492. Now, whether or not I agreed with the way things are going, I have issues with a lot of the so-called national leadership, but I give Jesse Jackson credit for a couple of things. One of them was the fact that he always acknowledged Selma and Selma's role in American history. And he went out of his way. He came here every year, now again, and going behind the scenes and knowing that he and the late great Calhoun of Calhoun Foods were close, and knowing the role that he played in helping him get financed, and then knowing the role that he played with a lot of these major corporations in New York and Silicon Valley and Chicago to get them to spend money with minority-owned businesses. See, people get it all backwards. If you can't help yourself, you're almost a slave. You have to be able to and be independent enough. Booker T. Washington said, "Cast down thy bucket." A lot of people don't understand what that means, I don't think. But then again, then you got another group of folk who really don't care. Cast down my bucket. Give me where's the federal application for everything that I need to be supplied. Hmm? Anyway, I'm being tongue in cheek for those that understand what that means. Um, the annual voting rights Jubilee celebration in Lowndes County, the Lowndes County Area Chamber of Commerce is having their celebration this Saturday. Part one, they'll have a lineup uh, in Marion, Alabama, at 8 a.m. at the courthouse in Marion. You know, for years, people did not want to acknowledge the role that Marion played, and really, the voting rights trail really starts in Marion because it was where Marion is where Jimmy Lee Jackson was shot. He died in Selma, and the original idea of the Selma to Montgomery March was proposed where? In Marion, Alabama. So anyway, that's a time wise. I don't have enough time this morning to get into all the details, but I'm just pointing it out. And so in Lowndes County, most of the march, the Selma to Montgomery March took place in Lowndes County. People lost their land, lost their homes. Sharecroppers were thrown off their land for helping people get registered to vote. And I'll never forget an interview I saw with one of the Lowndes County residents. He was asked, "How do you feel?" Y'all talk about me and what I say about black politicians sometimes. They asked him straight up, an old guy, said, "How do you feel about how the black elected officials are serving you?" He said, "They're not." He said, "I lost my family. I lost my home. I sacrificed everything to help get the right to vote, for people to get registered to vote, and the people that got in office turned their backs on us." That's not Randy Williams saying that. That's somebody who was thrown off their land that was saying it, and that he was disappointed in some, not all, but a lot of black officials, a lot of people that ran for office and won, ran for the wrong reasons. But that too is another story. That's history too, and it's the history that a lot of us don't want to tell. And so they're going to have the motorcade. I believe they're going to leave at 9 o'clock in Marion. I have two different times, but they're going to leave Marion and come through Selma and go across the Edmund Pettus Bridge and head to the Selma to Montgomery Lowndes County Interpretive Center in Whitehall. And they've got a program scheduled at 11 a.m. Brother Burgess Bailey will have one display his RV, you know, that has the 1,500 names of the foot soldiers and pictures, and you know the whole RV is decorated with paraphernalia from that time period in black high schools. Then at 12:30, they have the Jubilee program in the theater of the Interpretive Center. If you've never been to the Interpretive Center in Lowndes County, you owe it to at least see how they have done that. For more information, you can contact Dr. Ozell Hubert at 251-387-0357. All are welcome. And this is Lowndes County Strong. Come build with us is their slogan. Let's take this last break, and I'll be back with more.
Showroom condition demands cutting-edge technology. That's what you get at the all-new George's Paint and Body Shop in Selma. After tornado damage total reconstruction, George's has the latest advanced technology, especially designed for today's multi-tech vehicles. The Bosch calibration system restores safety features like lane departure and collision sensors. The two new Chief Frame machines and computer laser measuring system delivers pinpoint accuracy down to the millimeter. And the two new downdraft paint booth units provide perfect quality refinishing. And with the reconstruction comes a much larger facility designed for an increased capacity and quicker turnaround times. George's deals directly with your insurance company, but they work for you. Call to schedule your estimate and repairs today. See the pros, Eric and Scooter Hoggett at George's Paint and Body Shop, 1215 J.L. Chestnut Junior Boulevard, or call 334-872-1441. The all-new George's Paint and Body Shop has reopened in Selma. By George, they've got to make room. Grays on Broad has truckloads of new furniture on the way, but they have nowhere to put it. So this is your chance to beautify your home at a money-saving price. 30% on bedroom suits, 20% on living room suits, and that's just for starters. Save on appliances, many one-of-a-kinds, all priced to move now. March on in to Gray's Unbroad and put your tax refund money to good use and update your little corner of the world. See Miss Margaret, Miss Lisa, or the mayor. Gray's, 514 Broad Street in Selma.
1490 WHBB. Almost forgot to mention the fact, that also this Saturday, Reverend Frankie Hutchins is forming the cancer support group. If you've been diagnosed with cancer or have survived cancer, then they want to talk. And they're saying, she says, let's talk to each other. We're here for each other. That's this Saturday from 10 a.m. until 12 noon at the Clinton Chapel, AME Zion, 615 Green Street. There will be a light lunch served, and I expect to hear from Reverend Hutchins possibly on tomorrow during Viewpoint. Viewpoint, you're on the air.
Randy, good morning, brother.
Yes, sir. Give me some good news.
Up ahead at 65 North, Panther Nation.
When?
I actually just waking up and getting more started, so I don't know what it is.
I mentioned it, but I didn't have. I can't tie down a score, but I do know that the Panthers won yesterday, huh?
28-31.
Wow.
Side Academy.
Wow.
What a great showing by Panther faithful. And I'll say this, and I know you're short of time. But anyway, the Final Four will be next Tuesday, 1:30 p.m. in Birmingham. We're planning a festive celebration, send off, and hopefully Panther gathering in Birmingham. So we're so proud of these young folks. Young people from Tipton were allowed to attend the game, and they were so excited. I was so happy to see those young people enjoying themselves. What a great showing by these young men and these coaches. So just proud of Southside and the good things that have taken place in spite of all the turmoil around us in our community. I just wanted to share that.
I'm so glad you did. Go Panthers, man. I mean, that's wonderful,
Yes. On their way to Birmingham, the Final Four. So wow, jubilation indeed.
Yeah, I didn't know what to score. I can't tie the score down. But now, if there's anything that you need on my end, just let me know. I can do what I can do from here.
You just want the word out, and if in any way possible, you can make a story of this next week, be in attendance. I know we got a lot going on, but we want the positive light on these young men and this coaching.
Well, how about if we don't end with this? Why don't we just consider this a beginning to be shining the light on a regular basis? You know what I mean?
Absolutely, we need it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. At least we know what the score. What was that score again?
48-31.
48-31. So it wasn't a 1-pointer or two pointer. That was a convincing win, huh?
From beginning to end, they dominated this game, so they came out completely focused. Leave no doubt in the mind of who the better team was yesterday.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. We're out of time. Thank you for calling, and most try my best to stay on top of things. Stay tuned for Fox News on WHBB Selma. I'll see you tomorrow morning, the good Lord willing. It's 9 o'clock.
Response. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. What President Trump said in his State of the Union address.